Let's jump right into this explainer because we have a massive myth to bust today. Imagine this. You've been saving up for 5 whole years, right? And today is finally the day. You stroll into a car dealership with a literal bag of cash. You're ready to buy outright. No loans, no debt, no strings attached. Honestly, you probably feel like you're completely winning at the game of life. You're expecting them to roll out the red carpet for you. Well, today, we're going to completely dismantle that universally accepted idea that paying cash for a car is the ultimate financial flex. We're going to dig into the math, the psychology, and the hidden mechanics of buying a car to show you how to actually become a true wealth builder.
So, is paying cash for a car actually a mistake? I know. It sounds totally crazy. You'd think walking in with cash makes you the absolute boss of the dealership. But here's the reality check, and it's kind of jarring. The exact second you proudly announce, "Hey, I'm paying cash," the dealership starts throwing a silent party. Seriously. Behind that warm, friendly smile from the salesperson, they are thrilled because they've just found a buyer they can easily outmaneuver. Far from giving you the upper hand, that bag of cash just painted a giant target on your back, and you are about to lose a pretty significant amount of money over the long term.
Section 1. Dealerships are finance companies. To get why this happens, we have to look at a fundamental truth the auto industry tries really hard to keep quiet. A dealership isn't actually just a car seller. It's practically a finance company that just so happens to have cars parked outside. The real money isn't made on the metal out on the lot. It's made in the back office. And that brings us to something called the dealer reserve. Basically, this is the commission that lenders pay the dealership for routing your car loan through them. This one definition is the absolute key to understanding why they love it when you finance and why they absolutely hate cash buyers who take that massive payday completely off the table. Let me show you exactly how that dealer reserve works against you in real time. Think about a 2% difference. You sit down in that little finance office, right? The bank might actually approve you for a 4% interest rate because you've got a stellar credit score. But the dealer, they look you in the eye and say the absolute best they can do is 6%. That 2% gap doesn't just magically disappear. It goes straight into the dealer's pocket every single month for the entire duration of your loan. Because cash buyers skip this entire process, dealers rarely give them the best sticker price on the car itself. They hold firm because they got to make up that lost back office profit somewhere. Let's look at Section 2, the tale of two buyers. We're going to humanize this math a bit by looking at two different people who both start with exactly $40,000 to buy the exact same high-end SUV. It really highlights the crossroads every single car buyer faces. On path A, we have the traditionalist. This buyer drops their entire $40,000 in cash. Now they feel incredibly secure, right? They own the car free and clear, 0 monthly payments to stress over. But by making this choice, they've also instantly drained their bank account down to 0. And here's where the traditionalist situation gets really, really painful. That $40,000 asset they just dumped all their cash into, it is losing value at a brutal rate of 15% per year. It's not like real estate that sits there holding its value. No, it is actively bleeding wealth just by sitting in their driveway. So let's fast forward 5 years. For our traditionalist, that $40,000 car is now worth maybe $20,000. That is a massive loss, and they have absolutely 0 growth to show for it. But now, let's look at the wealth builder on path B. She also started with $40,000, but she's playing a totally different game. She grabs a low-interest loan at 4%, puts down just $5,000, and takes the remaining $35,000 straight into a simple S&P 500 index fund. Historically, that's returning an average of about 10% a year. Sure, she has a monthly payment now, and yeah, she's paying some interest to the bank, but get ready for the massive aha moment here. Check out the net worth after 5 years. The traditionalist is sitting at just $20,000 in total value. But the wealth builder, her invested $35,000 grew to nearly $56,000 over those same 5 years. Even after you subtract the cost of her car loan and all the interest she paid, she is up by over $15,000 compared to our cash buyer. She gets to drive the exact same SUV, but she also built a massive growing pile of wealth along the way. If we boil this all down, it comes down to a core concept of financial intelligence, avoiding dead money and leveraging active money. The cash buyer, they've got dead money. It is completely trapped inside a depreciating hunk of steel and plastic. The wealth builder, on the other hand, has active money. Her capital is out there in the market, working for her, compounding, and generating wealth while she's literally fast asleep. Section 3, the monthly payment trap. Now, before you run out and finance your next ride, you absolutely have to understand the dangers waiting for you. There is a seriously deadly psychological trap in that finance office, and it usually starts with one simple question from the salesperson. What is the maximum you can afford to pay every month? Listen to me, I want you to burn this into your memory right now. The exact second you answer that question, you have completely surrendered all of your negotiating power. You have practically handed them your wallet.
Why is that question so dangerous? Because if you tell them, well, my budget is $500 a month, I guarantee you they will magically find a way to make your payment exactly $500. But focusing purely on that monthly number is a brutal trick. It's exactly how people end up paying $60,000 for a car that's only worth 40 grand. You drive off the lot thinking you scored a win because it fits your budget, but in reality, your overall wealth was just quietly gutted.
So how do they actually pull that off? How do they inflate a car to 60 grand while keeping your payment at 500? Well, the finance manager just messes with the deal ingredients. First, they stretch that loan term out from a normal 5 years to a grueling 7 years. Then they quietly bake in wildly expensive extended warranties, gap insurance, and those crazy marked up fabric protection packages. All of these extras get hidden inside that comfortable monthly payment, just silently draining your long-term wealth without you even noticing what hit you. Section 4, the Wealth Builder's Playbook. It's time to fight back. Let's get into the exact actionable steps you need to beat the dealership at their own game. There are 3 cardinal rules you need to follow. Rule 1, get pre-approved. Rule 2, separate transactions. And Rule 3, master the spread. These are basically your impenetrable shield. Let's break them down. Rule 1 is all about the out-the-door price. You should absolutely never walk into a dealership without a pre-approval letter from your own credit union or bank. That letter is your ultimate shield. It immediately tells the dealer, look, I don't need your money, and I already locked in my interest rate. By taking away their financing leverage right off the bat, you force them to negotiate the only number that actually matters, the final bottom line out-the-door price. Not the monthly payment, not some suggested retail price, the final out-the-door number. Rule 2 is to separate your transactions. Step 1 is to negotiate the price of the new car. Do not even mention that you have an old car yet. Once the price of the new vehicle is locked in and written down, then and only then do you move to step 2 and bring up your trade-in. If you mix these 2 things together from the start, the dealer is just going to shuffle the numbers around like a shell game. They'll make it look like they're giving you an amazing deal on the trade-in while quietly overcharging you for the new car. You have to keep them strictly separate. And Rule 3 is mastering the spread. If you know you can confidently get, say, an 8% return in the market through index funds, but your auto loan rate is only 4%, you have a positive spread. In this exact scenario, the bank is basically paying you that 4% difference just to use their money. It's wild when you think about it. Why on earth would you tie up your own precious cash when you can mathematically use the bank's money to generate a profit for yourself? Now, I want to be totally transparent here, so we do have to acknowledge the one big caveat, the high interest exception. If macroeconomic interest rates are just sky high, like let's say the absolute best car loan you can find is 7 or 8%, and you don't have a reliable, safe way to beat that return in the market, well, then yes. In that specific case, paying cash finally becomes a viable, calculated option. But historically speaking, for most of the last couple decades, the math heavily favors the disciplined financer. Ultimately, the entire car buying system is designed to take money from the uninformed and pass it right over to the calculated. You've got to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. Remember this, the most expensive car you'll ever own isn't the one with the highest price tag. It's the one that stopped your wealth from growing. So the next time you step onto a dealership lot, are you going to make a decision based on the fleeting emotion of today or on exactly where you want your net worth to be in 5 years?